Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is the Mighty Captain Marvel number 8, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Variant Cover Edition. You can see here, this cover art is actually one of the better ones of this pack, and for good reason. The artist is from Capcom. For those of you who aren't familiar, this is Shinkiro. He is probably most famous for his work when he used to do art for the SNK fighting games. If you remember those from the arcade, that's King of Fighters and the whatnot. In this case, he also later on moved over to Capcom and did a bunch of art for them. This is his particular art. What I love most about this cover is how he really doesn't give a fuck about Marvel's current version of Captain Marvel. The only thing he keeps is the costume, and he doesn't change the feminine figure that he's used to drawing. So he draws Captain Marvel with much more of a feminine figure, gives her long hair. Facial features a little weird, but Shinkiro's always had a bit of an odd, faces, at least in my opinion. He always kind of has like these movie star almost like faces. The only thing I don't like is the perspective here cuts Chun-li out of the shot, and he draws a really nice Chun-li. Anyhow, to this comic, this is the Mighty Captain Marvel. This particular run of Carl Manvers was written by Margaret Stoll, drawn by Michelle Bandini. And in this particular run back in 2017 was during the Captain America is a Nazi Now run or storyline, pioneered by this asshole. And this particular issue is interesting because the writing is actually, I would say, acceptable, is what I would call the writing. The biggest problem with this book is the art and the editing. That's the biggest problem with this book that really made it kind of a slog to get through. And it's pretty easy to see why. The art, so if you take a look at this, the colorist just uses a space background over and over and over again, and then an earth background. And in terms of the actual, what the artist actually draws, you know, you got really tiny figures right here. Everything is kind of backed out. And that's always the biggest problem. The camera's pulled out a lot. And the shots are very, I would say, undynamic. To be fair, this could be the writer, Margaret Stoll. I highly doubt that. It's most likely Michelle Bandini is just not used to doing very, dynamic shots for this. And there's not really a lot of it. Like, if you take a look, there's not, like, here we got a shot of her, but what is she shooting at? I don't really know. Here you just see, the Chitauri getting beat up. And that's really all you get to see. In fact, in general, you never, basically, throughout this entire book, the writing makes it seem like all of our, quote-unquote heroes, so they're up in Alpha Flight, which is now a space station run by old members of Alpha Flight, with guest starring the Guardians of the Galaxy. In this case, weird mustache Star-Lord with Rocket and Groot. And throughout all of this, the dialogue makes it, by the writer, makes it seem like they're in, dire straits or a desperate situation, but the art almost never conveys it. And to be fair, in terms of the writer's fault, is the script basically calls for 1-2 pages of action. That's it. You get 2 pages of action, then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Finally something happens, and it's not really action. They just decide to blow up the space station with some bombs. So I was like, okay. And then in terms of actual fighting, then the shield gets smashed by Quasar because the space station doesn't really work. And then, Quasar, dies or disappears or something like that. I don't know. It's not really explained. Captain Marvel goes flying in, blows up some eggs, and it's just really bad. It's also a good example of the weaknesses of the modern comic book writing style. What really needs to happen here is a lot more narration boxes. There's too much dialogue. If you take a look at this, this is not narration boxes. These are inner monologuing of Carol Manvers, talking about some shit. By the way, this would be such a cooler panel if instead of showing this shots and all this other stuff, you know, well, really it would be cooler if we deleted like maybe 5 pages of dialogue and had, you know, Captain Marvel show more of sort of the animation and the wind up for what she's doing. Other than that, it like if you take a look at the last scene she has, she's right here, she shoots a beam, you kind of see this real half, you know, panel or quarter panel right here, where she's kind of building up her, you know, mask. You know, God, I hate this costume. This costume is just so ugly. Ugh. I can't believe people actually think this is cooler than her original costume. Her original costume was dope when she was Miss Marvel, or Warbird, if you're more into that, like, early 2000s version of Captain Marvel. But, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad written plot. There is some level of suspense, and I guess for what they're trying to accomplish, you know, the writing is not... There are some... Oh, yeah, there is some, like, annoying parts right here. Like, what's one that really... there's one of these things that really drives me freaking nuts every time I hear it. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of, like, silly Billy, you know, stuff, you know? Sorry, Captain, our Hail Mary looks more like a Hell Nary, a Hello Larry, a Hell No, hard pass. It's a bunch of, like, cute humor that you're just sort of like, who edited this anyway? Well, that explains that. But yeah, there's just a bunch of it, and you're just sort of like, what are you trying to do here? So there's some silly Billy dialogue, but for the most part, it's okay. But the issue here, there's so much context that is lost throughout this story that literally you will not be able, like a modern comic book, to pick this up and figure out what the fuck is going on. Yes, they give you this really stupid thing right here, but honestly, this is a waste of a page, and I actually hate these things. I much would have had more artwork of action, you know, probably explaining what the hell is going on, or maybe showing how much of a threat, right, that the Chitauri are in this particular issue, even though honestly they're not. You know, because, well, it's Captain Marvel, and she's never going to lose or have really a problem. But the issue here is this doesn't explain enough, and because of the way modern comics are written, all of these boxes are just inner monologues, what used to be thought bubbles back in the day, and they're not really third-person narration or context to what the hell's going on here, right? So in terms of, like, you actually reading this, can you actually get a plot out of this? Sure. Is, you know, oh, God. Ugh. Just, ugh, man. You see this, like, looks like a dude. Like, legitimately looks like a dude. Oh, man. This looks like a punk rock dude from, like, the 80s or something. Yeah, the ultimately, when you go through these comic books, and it's gonna sound like a broken record every time I go through this. What goes through my mind is boring, people talking too much, not a lot going on, and when something does actually happen, the conflict ends in like one page or one panel. You know, there's no real threat or suspense, right? The suspense is only driven by the writer saying their suspense. And that's not how comic books work. Why would you have, like, write all this dialogue saying how dangerous or how much in threat you are when you can actually draw it out and show it, right? It kind of makes me understand why your boy Zach is always screaming about art and the issue with modern art. Is that the more you read modern Marvel comics, the more you realize how poorly the comic books are created nowadays for what the medium can offer, right? It's just boring and unfulfilling. And, you know, it just, you know, what a waste of Shinkiro's art right here. Just a boring issue of a character. The inside character looks just infinitely uglier than this one. Yeah, I want to see this Captain Marvel, especially if she's got these curves. Hell, I want to see Shinkiro draw the Warbird costume. That'll be awesome. Anyhow, yeah, this beautiful cover, but sorry Shinkiro, this book is shit. Anyhow, that's the video. Forgot to say my usual spiel at the end of videos on the last one. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. You got any comments about all these Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite variant cover books that were sent out back in 2017, leave it down below. And, oh, by the way, yeah, no art for these videos. Kind of running out of time right here. And also, honestly, I really don't want to do art for these videos. Just personally, I've been kind of working on different types of art stuff on the side. And I'll show you that stuff later. But anyhow, that's the video. I will see you guys next time.